let's see how this goes. My name's Elizabeth, and I like to knit. I do a lot of it, and I figured it'd be fun to have a place to talk about it and people to talk about it with that I don't have to leave my house for. So, with that said, this is going to be a knitting podcast. I don't do a lot of other crafts, but if I start to, we may delve into some of those. Let's get excited. This is going to follow probably the traditional format of what I'm wearing, finished objects, works in progress, and what I want to knit in the future. So let's get going. First off, what I'm wearing today. This is a few years old, but this is the Empire Pullover by Kirsten. It was a paid-for pattern through Knitpicks. And this is the Wool of the Andes Superwash, just plain Wool of the Andes, in the Sapphire Heather colorway. And I really wish you could see this better, because it is deep, but it's not quite as deep as it's showing up on camera right now. And it's got these little tiny flecks of kind of like a purple or, oh, there we go, purpley bits in there as well. Oh, and this needs to be depilled, but that's okay. That's beside the point. This is held up remarkably well because I wear it all the time. I sleep in it. I have some more of this yarn in my stash. I'm just like, well, I have to make something that's relatively hardy with it. In a different colorway, of course, because as much as I love the Sapphire Heather, I can't have two sweaters in the same color. Not exactly, at least. Moving on. Let's talk about what I have knit recently. I'm going to start because it is December 9th. It's a Saturday. My husband's at the gym, so it's relatively quiet. With some gift knits, or just some little knits that you could potentially make as a gift before Christmas. If you are gifting for Hanukkah, you're going to have to knit fast because it's already day 3. Sorry on that one. So, I have 2 paid-for patterns and a free pattern. The first one that I made, just go in that order, is this. This is the Witch Elm Cap, my apologies, by Hanson. And I love it so much. I think this might be like the platonic ideal cabled hat pattern. And I made it for a knitter that I know who can't really do it anymore, like her hands just don't let her. But I knew that she would be very knit-worthy, should be able to take care of it, no problem, no felting happening here. And she has a big head, so I wanted something that was like, this goes. I did make the largest size, but my gauge was, I didn't swatch because it's a hat. My gauge is definitely smaller than what the pattern recommends. So it still stretches quite a bit. Super duper comfy. The yarn I knit this in, which I had the ball band for around here. Apparently not. This is 2 seconds. All right, here we go. The yarn for this is the Wooldreamers Dehesa de Barrera, which I love it. It was a little bit pricey. Let's see. $26. That's probably not pricey for everybody, but it is a little pricey for me. But I love it. And there's a fair amount left. Like, I haven't actually weighed it, but I would say this is like, it's enough to do like, maybe if I pair this with something else, I could get some accessories out of it. You know, a pair of mittens or something. It is non-superwash, but it's not like, there's no vegetable material or anything in here, even though it feels like the type of yarn that would. It's really bouncy, it's really dry, and I love it. 100 grams for 448 yards. So, 10 out of 10. Love that one. Moving on. The next paid-for pattern that I made, and this is still drying. This is going to be for my grandpa, which is good because I probably wouldn't knit this pattern for anyone else. It is beautiful. I love the outcome. I love the yarn, and it's going to fit him perfectly. I found out this year that my grandpa and I have the exact same size head, so handy. I'm just like, I'm not going to put it on though right now because it is wet and I don't want to stretch out this part, the ribbing, too much. But this is the Mountain Climber Hat by Natalie Pelykh, Pelykh. I don't know how to, I guess I'll put it in the description. I don't know, that's a new thing, but I don't think I'm probably saying it right. But it's gorgeous, and the pattern's really well made. It's a little more than I would normally spend for a hat pattern, but I saw it and I was like, that's the one. My like little old Irish grandpa needs that hat specifically. So, and it did not disappoint. But these cables, after like the second repeat, did not spark joy. My hands were hurting every time like I would make a little mistake. I never had to rip back like more than like 5 stitches, but having to undo cables and then redo cables when you already don't want to be doing cables anymore was, but yeah, it's gorgeous. This pattern comes in a ton of sizes, which is great, because sometimes, especially with like a dense cable pattern like this, I worry that it's not going to fit. The downside is you do have to know your recipient's head size more specifically, but my grandma's really sneaky with the tape measure, so lucked out. The yarn I used for this, which I've never used before, again, because it's a little pricey, but it's for my grandpa, so I can splurge a little. This is the Yarnadelic Sport Weight Heavy 4-ply, and this is the color Harmonium. John Arbon yarn is beautiful. This is 100% Corriedale, which I'm not sure if I've ever worked with before. But yeah, it's a gorgeous color. Let's see if I can get it. Actually, this is pretty true to color. It's kind of a springier, woodsy green. I love it a lot, and it'll be perfect for my grandpa. Moving on. This one is a free pattern, and full disclosure, this is not probably exactly how yours will turn out. It is not how the pattern is written. This is the Bandana Cowl by Purl Soho, and the biggest change I probably made was that this is not written for this yarn weight, so slight gauge changes, but I think it all worked out. This looks almost like the pattern photos, only thinner, but I like it very much. I've already worn it a couple times. It's not that cold here yet, but or at least not to me. The pattern is originally written, I think, for bulky weight yarn, so it'd be an excellent gift knit if you have some bulky weight lying around. I had this DK weight that was left over from my sister's Christmas sweater last year. This is the Drops Lima, which is a DK weight, and it is 65% wool, 35% alpaca, and I do love it. I was kind of banking on it because that alpaca content to help me get more drape, because this ribbing, aside from the gauge being different and the stitch counts being different, this was also originally a garter ridge, so naturally it wouldn't have pulled in the way that this ribbing wanted to, but I wanted this aesthetic. I don't really like the look of garter except for like in blankets or, well, that's not true. I didn't want garter for this, so I changed it, and fortunately it blocked out a lot. Somebody is texting my phone out the wazoo, so that's going to go somewhere where it can't be heard. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. Again, it's a free pattern, super fast, even at the DK weight gauge. I think it definitely took less than a week, but would recommend. Might make one for my sister-in-law prior to Christmas. Remarkably warm. Yeah, you're knitting, you cast on at the bottom edge. You're knitting short rows back and forth here until you get to this point. And then you start doing decreases on either side to get it to kind of more of a hug right under your chin. So yeah, fast, easy, comfy, love it. Those are all my, like, you can finish this before Christmas still patterns. Let's move on to some garments. All right, this is my new child, my new favorite obsession. I love it. I don't normally knit color work. Pardon the fact that I'm wearing this with a sports bra, but This is the Sonrae by Jennifer Steingass. I didn't do too much to it. I did do the lazy thing where like she had some of this motif in the cuff as well, and I decided I didn't want that. But I am so enthralled with how it worked out. I love both of these yarns. Unfortunately, only one of them is still available commercially. If you know what Cloudborn Fibers is doing now, please let me know, because I bought this on sale, which apparently was like the last batch they ever made, and I'm in love with it. So, I also really enjoyed this pattern. Let me grab my yarns. So, the Colorwork yarn was actually the one that I found first, and I have a good amount left. Again, maybe some accessories or something for this. Oh, I have actually a lot more of this left because I knit this yoke basically twice, and it was so beautiful I could not rip it out. But at some point I need to, because like I don't have enough yarn to turn this into an entire second sweater for somebody who's a size or two bigger than me. But it's so pretty and it's so soft. But I do have a lot more yarn to reclaim. Twins! I love this pattern no less for having basically knit a lot of it twice. So that is, I think, a good review. And then the reason that I knit that twice is because I knit this swatch. And I'm pretty sure I used like the needles either recommended for the yarn or the needles recommended for the pattern. And I knit this swatch and I love it. It's perfect. And I didn't want to change gauge because I knew I wanted exactly this fabric. The trouble is this is significantly smaller than the pattern gauge. So what I did was some weird math. And as you can see, the first time I did that weird math wrong. So I basically picked, since it's a yoke pullover, I took the diameter to the outside of my arms, and I like didn't account for casting on stitches under the sleeves. And anyway, I picked a size a couple sizes bigger than what I actually wanted the first time I tried to do it, and didn't work out, which is fine. You live and you learn, and the great thing about it is it's not steeked. I can use all that yarn again, no problemo. This was still going up a significant number of sizes, so I did a little bit of extra fudging when it comes to the neckline, which I think had I used my gauge and done the exact number of stitches, it should have actually turned out significantly tighter, based on the pattern size that I chose, because like comparatively, like there's more stitches that you cast on for like a larger pattern size, but because most people's necks are roughly the same size, they're gonna have like a more drastic increase from a larger pattern size neckband to the bust versus a smaller pattern size neckband to the bust. Does that make sense? Anyway, I kind of figured out what I would need for this diameter and this diameter separately, and then did whatever witchcraft I needed to around here to get it there. You know, making compromises, using different needle sizes is really helpful for a ribbing specifically. Yeah, I'm so happy with how it turned out. I love it. I don't think I ever actually got to what these yarns are. So like I said, the body of this is the Cloudborn Fibers Highland Fingering, and I love it. It's so soft. It's like, it's dry, it's warm, it's not superwash, but it's so soft. And I'm mad that I can't get any more of this. I literally went to buy an extra skein because I was worried when I picked the size that I did initially that I was going to run out. And I got like the very last skein of any color, and it just happened to be the color and colorway, and the lot number that I needed. So, but I've got this, and I've got what's left in that sweater. I think I might have another skein somewhere, so, so nice. the other one, which was the original choice for this sweater. This is a Queensland Fibers. Oh, and once again, I've replaced the ball band. Give me a sec. Okay, this is going to be jarring because we're time traveling a bit because my computer deleted a chunk of video, but this is the Perth yarn. Queensland collection Perth, and it is mostly a superwash wool, 20% nylon. So normally I would make like socks out of this sort of yarn, but that like color change, it has that sort of barber pole. Oh, and of course I've thrown it on the ground somewhere now. It has that sort of like barber pole look that everyone's obsessed with now. And I just really thought that this would be nice in a sweater. It's very subtle, and so I don't know. It doesn't match the other yarn perfectly. It matches pretty close in weight and in how it feels, because this is not the most superwashy superwash, and that is not the most like toothy non-superwash. So they're a great match. If you can get your hands on some Cloudborn fibers, please do. It's a great choice. But you can still get this, and it comes in way more colorways than this. This is just like the boring indoor child color that I needed in my life, and I love it. Moving on. Now I don't remember what order this happened in. So I have talked about, and you'll see me wearing in the future, this sweater vest. This was kind of an improvised problem, sort of. It was a fun challenge, but what I was really dumb about is that I used 3 colors, and I did not swatch, and I did cut my yarn in between. So you can kind of see under the arm that I tried to carry, or not carry, but I tried to do kind of a jogless stripe situation. I don't do a lot of stripes, so it was questionably successful, but it's whatever. I do like it a lot. It's definitely more cropped and more fitted than the actual pattern, which is called Streepjes by Ingrid IOknits. And it's a free pattern. It's amazing. Had I swatched for it, I would have really liked to have the original, because the original has a nice high neck. This probably falls about the same point, and then it is just like goes all the way down to like your actual, like, not natural waist, but like hips. And I think it'd be great and cozy. I knit it in these 3 colors of Cascade 220 Worsted Superwash. So it definitely grew a significant amount. Still not a lot, but it fits. It's fine. I don't know if I'll wear it a lot, but it was a fun project. That is all of the finished objects. Oh, I lost all of my works in progress. Let's get excited. Okay, so I'm a person who likes to have a like in-person, like at home project, and a like mobile project. So something bigger and something smaller. This one is the most like, if this had more color work, this would be more at home project than it currently is, but otherwise, like, it's off a cone. This ain't going nowhere. This is going to be the Birch Pullover by Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits, our Lord and Savior, Andrea Mowry. And this is knit in half fisherman's rib, and I'm in love with it. This is going to take forever. It is fingering weight. It is half fisherman's rib. It's slow going. I was eager to get it off the needles quickly so that I could use my 3mm or size 3 US 3 needles for mountain climber hat. But now that it's on the larger needles, I'm like, I'm not fussed by it. I'm just having a good time. This is my swatch. The colors look about the same, and honestly, you're missing a little bit of the subtlety, but not too much. It's a really pretty yarn. This is the Holst Super Soft, which has a lot of spinning oil from the cone. This colorway is not as bad as some other ones that I've worked with, but it definitely is, softens up a significant amount, so the swatch feels so good. It's just really pretty. This is the Jasper colorway, and then I cast on with the iced colorway, just did like the tubular cast on. I didn't use the exact one that she calls for in the pattern because I hate the like not having the stability of it, so I do it a slightly different way. But I'm very excited for that. It's probably going to take me all winter, and I'm not mad about it. My portable project right now is a free pattern by Purl Soho. This is the Bandana Cowl. It was originally in their spindle yarn, which I love free Purl Soho patterns, but I am not their ideal customer because I tend to just use the patterns without buying the yarn. I have bought Purl Soho yarn, but not for one of their patterns. This is a more expensive yarn because my local yarn store had it. This is the La Bien-Aimée Felix, and my this cowl has like an inside and an outside, and the inside is a bright color, or is supposed to be, and then the outside is a more subtle color that has eyelets in it so you can see through. And this is the Hella colorway, which is a great name for this color. It is basically like fluorescent neon coral, and I love it. And then the one that I'm using for the eyelets is like more of a subtle, almost looks undyed gray, and I can't pronounce it because it's in French, Avone. Anyway, moving on to things that I want to make. So I don't normally buy this much yarn. This is a lot of yarn. But I was buying some yarn for the UK for a project, and to make shipping worth it, because I'm in the middle of North America, just smack dab in the middle, I had to get stuff for a couple projects. So I bought some drops Lima. This is, if you remember, the same that I was using for this project, and this was scraps from another sweater, and I was like, well, why would I not? Like, why don't I work with this more? So got some of this. This is color 9018, which I think they call like sea green, light sea green, something like that, and it's lovely. The pattern that I'm going to make with it is called the Nordic Vest by Natalia Ledinova, and it's actually like, this is the yarn called for by the pattern, which I never do. Sorry, someone keeps texting me. So very excited for that. I think it'll get a lot of wear in my wardrobe, work and home and otherwise. It's got a lot more positive ease in comparison to this. At least if I do it right, it will. So it'll fill a different spot in my wardrobe, I think. But that's that. Moving on, this is the actual reason that I had to purchase yarn from the UK. Because what happened is I purchased this yarn from my local yarn shop, which I love it. This is the Plied Yarn Company Pennsylvania Avenue base, which is 108 yards for 50 grams. And these colorways are actually, they aren't necessarily complementary, but I think they look really good kind of together in a project, which may be absolutely crazy. Look at me with all my colors right now. But this is kind of like a lime fluorescent green, and then the opposite strand kind of goes from a rust brown to a coral pink. And then this is like a baby pink, and the opposite strand goes from kind of like a navy blue to a cerulean blue. And I think that if I use these in color work and have just a little something in between them, I think they'll be really complementary. So I bought a bunch of Drops Alaska, which is 100% wool. This one's 77 yards for 50 grams, so it's a little chunkier, but I think it'll work out okay. The pattern that I'm going to make with this is the Lima by Sari Nordland, and that is a one color of colorwork, one base color pattern, so I'm going to have to play a little bit with it, but I'm very excited about that. But I'll keep you posted, maybe. The last one, and forgive me if you hear repeats here quickly, because this is about where it cut out. The last future project is with this beautiful yarn. This is from Blackberry Ridge Woolen Mill. It is a 2-ply sport weight yarn. It is absolutely gorgeous. This is the dark bronze colorway. I have another sweater in this, and I immediately had to go buy at least 2 more sweater quantities because they are closing their mill at some point in the near future, I think. I haven't been to their website recently, but that was the plan when I purchased this. And then the yarn that I have to go with it, just to kind of make sure that it stays a little bit protected, a little softer, gentler life for it, is this Drops Brush Alpaca Silk. So the silk will kind of just make the whole thing a little more sturdy, and the brushed alpaca will give it a little bit of a barrier to kind of protect it from pilling a little bit more. And I think these colors are close enough that they will go well together. Yeah, I'm very excited. God, this is so soft and so like, oh, like look at this. I probably still have this on recording from the other time, but it's so important I need you to see it twice. This, it just like, it changes in diameter so significantly when you stretch it out. So like when you're knitting with it, it's nice and tight, and then when you let go of that garment, it just like, so warm, so cozy, for sport weight, like, insane. It's as warm as a worsted weight sweater, and it's so soft. So that's that. I just sneezed like 4 times. Sorry. I have cats, and I'm allergic to them, but find what you love and let it kill you, right? Anyway, brushed alpaca silk, and this does not have the color on it. Ooh-hoo-hoo-hoo. Oh, color 19. It doesn't have a name on it, so that's disappointing. But these, I can't use for the pattern that I have, but I want to kind of do a little like gauge party and make essentially the same sweater. But this is too thin of, even together is too thin of a combination probably for the sweater that I want to make. And that would be the Canic Genser by Pickles. I have the pattern. I bought it when they were having like a, hey, we're struggling financially sort of sale, like please buy our stuff. And so I bought a couple patterns then that I kind of had my eye on but didn't have the yarn for yet, which is always a great combination. But the sample in the pictures is like a light gold color. And I just think it's like a nice, it's turtleneck chunky, it's got splits, split hem. So this will probably knit up pretty fast, so if I am losing steam on that Birch sweater, then I'll probably get to this pretty quickly. So that's that. Alright, the last thing that is a project to be is some impulse purchasing. I didn't go to the yarn store with the intention of having this yarn. My local yarn store, again, that I love, that I bought that Plaid Pennsylvania Avenue yarn from. Oh, it's called Yarn Social KC. And now you know where I live, basically. So, but they have an online shop, and they're fantastic. Their philosophy is great. The yarn itself is great. The store is just delightful. And they had their 5th year anniversary last week. So I went in and bought some of my favorite yarn ever. This is the Rosa Pomar Mondim, and I made a bunch of stuff in this. It's a fingering weight, non-superwash yarn. I think it's supposed to be like sock yarn because it's got a very tight spin. I have not made socks with it. I have made scarves. I have a sweater in it. And the thing that I want to make with these beautiful balls, which colorway 207 and colorway A568, these I would like to make myself pair of kind of modifiable glove mittens. So these I freestyled for my husband a couple years ago, and this is that Mondim also. And it's just, they're so nice, they're so cozy. They were replacing a pair of his that he like inherited that had completely worn out. I couldn't mend them anymore. And so it's just like, just a little mitten. The yarn is so good, and because it's got that really tight spin, it's really dense. I ended up doing like a rib inside the cuff and then just stocking it outside the cuff for aesthetics, but like it's double warm that way, and then there's the double layer up here. And I kind of want to just make myself a pair. This will probably be, once I finish that cowl, this boy, once I finish him, this will probably be my portable project. So yeah, haven't totally decided which one to use yet. I don't think these would look good together. Probably this, honestly. that's coming across really real too. I think the only thing you're missing is that this is like both purpley and gray. But that mint and that pink, very excited for. All right, that's all I got for you today. I hope that this was enjoyable for you also. It was definitely fun for me. The sound's probably terrible, so we'll see how that goes. But if you stayed this long, thanks. I'm glad that you're glad that you're still here. Hope you're having a good winter, staying warm or staying cool, depending on where you are in the world. And yeah, let me know what you would do with that Mondim yarn. And hopefully I'll talk to you in a few weeks. Stay warm.